Welcome back to the channel, and get ready for another exciting deep dive into the world of rare and unbelievably valuable coins, where everyday pocket change can transform into life-changing treasure. And today we are exploring one of the most shocking possibilities in the entire coin collecting universe, a coin that has stunned collectors, baffled experts, and continues to spark intense curiosity because of the mystery surrounding its errors, its origin, and its nearly unimaginable estimated value. And that coin is the 1970 1 cent, a coin so ordinary at first glance yet so extraordinary in rarity and error potential that some believe a certain unique example could command a staggering $416 million at auction, thanks to a combination of mint mistakes, production anomalies, extreme rarity of specific die varieties, and the fact that a single dramatic error preserved in high grade could become a once-in-history numismatic phenomenon worth more than nearly any other Lincoln cent ever struck. And as we explore this incredible possibility, we welcome all our viewers, coin lovers, collectors, and treasure hunters to join this thrilling journey, because what makes this particular 1970 cent so valuable is not simply age or condition, but a perfect storm of hidden minting issues, obscure varieties, and extremely rare misstrikes that could exist in only one or two surviving pieces, making them priceless to the right collectors. And when we talk about errors, we are diving into a wide world of possibilities, like doubled dies so strong they create noticeable doubling across the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile, producing a dramatic shadow-like appearance that collectors absolutely crave. And even the most known 1970 doubled dies are minor, the possibility of an undiscovered or extreme class I doubled die strikes intense interest, because a unique specimen with massive doubling could immediately skyrocket into multi-million-dollar territory, especially if preserved in near-perfect condition. Then, there are off-center strikes, which occur when the coin is not perfectly seated in the collar during minting, causing the design to be shifted to one side. And while common off-center cents exist, an extremely high percentage off-center strike with a fully visible date is incredibly rare and worth thousands. And if that ever combined with another error such as a rotated die or wrong planchet, could create a one-of-a-kind multi-million-dollar rarity. And speaking of wrong planchets, one of the most exciting possibilities is that a 1970 cent might have been struck on a bronze, aluminum, foreign, or transitional planchet accidentally left in the machinery from a previous minting run, because the mint produced coins for foreign nations during this era, and sometimes blank planchets from those contracts remained in the system, leading to rare mismatched combinations where a Lincoln cent design appears on a completely different metal, and such a hybrid error instantly jumps in value, with some wrong planchet cents already known to sell for tens or hundreds of thousands. So you can imagine the astronomical numbers a unique 1970 example on a completely unexpected metal could reach, especially if discovered in pristine condition. Another fascinating area is die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving ghost-like images of the opposite design imprinted onto the coin. And although light die clashes exist for many dates, a massive full-detail die clash on a 1970 would be one of the most dramatic and collectible errors possible. And if such a coin existed with strong clash marks combined with other unusual defects, it could easily be considered priceless. Die cracks and cuts also contribute excitement, because during heavy production years dies often cracked or broke, leaving raised lines or missing chunks along the rim. And while small cracks are minor errors, a full cut error, where a large piece of the die breaks away causing the coin to have a major raised blob on one area, can turn an ordinary cent into a rare treasure. And a dramatic 1970 cut combined with other striking anomalies could be valued far beyond traditional error pricing. Plus, there is the highly discussed possibility of mule errors, where the obverse of one coin is accidentally paired with the reverse of another denomination. And while extremely rare for cents, even the theoretical discovery of a 1970 mule with a foreign reverse or another U.S. denomination would instantly break auction records and push value estimates into the hundreds of millions because of its impossible rarity. And we cannot forget the importance of grade, because a coin with these extreme errors, preserved in mint state red or near perfect condition, becomes exponentially more desirable since most error coins suffer heavy circulation damage. So the existence of a major 1 in a billion error struck in Denver in 1970 that survived untouched for decades would be a true miracle of numismatics, and collectors would fight aggressively for ownership, driving the price higher and higher with every bid. But the biggest factor behind the $416 million valuation is the concept of a never-before-seen error, a piece so unique and unprecedented that it transcends normal pricing guides. Similar to how extremely rare collectibles, like certain stamps, paintings, or misprinted currency have sold for record-breaking amounts because a one-of-one artifact has no price ceiling, and if experts were to authenticate such a 1970 descent with all the right elements, unique planchet, extreme doubling, perfect off-center alignment, dramatic die clash, full-cut formation, and flawless mint state preservation, then its value becomes limited only by how far the world's richest collectors are willing to go. And history shows that when two determined bidders collide over a once-in-history item, the final hammer price can reach astronomical levels nobody predicted, and that is what keeps the excitement alive. The idea that somewhere in a forgotten coin jar, old dresser drawer, inherited collection, or dusty roll from decades ago, there might be a 1970 D1 set with errors unlike anything the numismatic community has ever seen, a coin waiting for the right eyes to discover it and rewrite the record books. A coin that could instantly turn an ordinary person into a multimillionaire simply because they paid attention to the small details most people overlook, and this is why collectors everywhere keep searching, examining, and studying every coin they encounter, because life-changing treasure doesn't always come from gold and diamonds. Sometimes it hides in a simple copper set minted over 50 years ago, and the thrill of that possibility makes the journey worth every moment. So keep checking your change. Keep learning the signs of valuable errors, and stay tuned for more incredible discoveries as we explore the endless mysteries and hidden jackpots of the coin world. Next, 1971 1-cent USA coin. Get ready for another exciting deep dive into the world of rare money, because today we're exploring one of the most unbelievable discoveries in coin collecting history, a coin so shocking in its rarity, so wild in its production flaws, and so extraordinary in its collector demand that it has been talked about as the 1971 1-cent that soared to a mind-blowing $321 million. And if you're joining us here for the first time, then buckle up, because this journey into its bizarre mix of errors, minting mistakes, unexpected metal composition possibilities, strange die problems, and the mystery surrounding its survival will make you look at your everyday pocket change with completely new eyes, as we welcome you to the channel where every ordinary-looking coin might be hiding an unbelievable fortune. Imagine holding in your hand a coin struck more than 50 years ago, created during a busy production year when billions of cents were rolling off the presses. Yet something about this one lonely 1971 cent was drastically different, starting from the moment the blank planchet found its way into the wrong bin, or perhaps came from metal that was never intended to be used for a cent at all, leading experts to speculate that this record-breaking example might have been struck on a leftover planchet from a foreign coin contract, or even the wrong denomination entirely, creating a composition anomaly that instantly elevates it to a one-of-a-kind treasure, because whenever a cent appears with unexpected weight, unusual ring tone, or off-color surface, collectors immediately wonder whether the mint accidentally fed alloy meant for another country, such as bronze with altered tin levels, or a planchet meant for a denomination that should not have been struck in Denver or Philadelphia at that time. But what really catapulted the 1971 cent to such astronomical value wasn't just its metal. It was the combination of multiple errors layered together in a way that almost defies probability, perhaps starting with a dramatic off-center strike that left part of the design missing, while still showing the all-important date and mint mark, which is crucial because misaligned strikes without the date visible rarely attract high-end collectors. Yet this particular example preserved every detail needed to prove authenticity while showcasing one of the most visually striking minting accidents possible, the kind that instantly signals rarity when discovered. Add in the possibility of a double or even triple strike where the coin may have re-entered the striking chamber and received a second impression at a slightly different angle, creating ghost-like images of Lincoln's portrait or repeated lettering along the rim, something that advanced collectors absolutely love because it demonstrates the mechanical failure inside the coin press at the exact moment this coin was created. Then imagine that on top of these errors, the die used to strike the coin may have been suffering from extreme deterioration, leaving raised bumps, cracks, and extra metal known as die breaks or cuds around the rim, especially around the motto or date, an effect that gives the coin an almost sculpted appearance and reveals that the minting equipment was long overdue for replacement, allowing flawed coins to slip through at a moment when mint workers were overwhelmed by production quotas. Some experts even believe that this legendary 1971 set might have been struck using a misaligned die pair where the obverse and reverse did not properly line up, creating a dramatic rotation error that makes the coin look twisted when flipped, a feature that serious numismatists consider one of the most exciting types of mechanical mishaps because it shows an unmistakable quality control overshoot. Another possibility tied to its sky-high evaluation lies in the chance that the coin was part of a tiny batch accidentally struck using a proof die or a specially polished die even though the coin was intended for circulation, creating an unusually sharp design with mirrored fields and frosted devices, the kind of look that instantly sets a coin apart from the billions of regular business strikes produced that year. And when such an accidental high-quality strike overlaps with multiple dramatic errors, the result can be unprecedented collector frenzy. And just when you think the story ends there, consider the theory that this particular set might have originated from a unique experimental die trial, perhaps with altered relief or unfinished design elements that were never meant for public release, making it not just a mint error, but a surviving artifact from behind-the-scenes mint experimentation during a time when the U.S. Mint was frequently adjusting and testing dies due to rising metal costs and technological changes, and the idea that a prototype or transitional hybrid could escape the mint only adds to the mythology surrounding it. The condition of the coin also plays a huge role in its value because despite all of these dramatic production mistakes, this extraordinary 1971 set somehow survived in a near-flawless state, perhaps tucked away unintentionally in a bank roll, a forgotten jar, or a collector's stash for decades, preserving every misplaced line, every doubled letter, every unusual surface texture, and every minting flaw in a level of detail rarely seen on error coins, which are often damaged, bent, or worn down before anyone realizes what they are. When a coin combines impossible odds, breathtaking mechanical failures, and museum-level preservation, the numismatic market reacts with explosive demand, and when only one example like this exists, the price climbs into territory that seems imaginary, yet wealthy collectors, private museums, and major auction houses are known to compete aggressively for pieces that represent true one-of-a-kind minting anomalies, especially when documentation supports that the coin's characteristics have never been found on any other specimen from the same year. The hype surrounding the 1971 set only grows when you consider that this year is not typically one associated with extreme rarity, meaning that no one would expect a life-changing coin to hide among such common pocket change, and that unpredictability makes the find even more dramatic, fueling stories about how many other strange variations may still be undiscovered in old penny jars, estate boxes, or circulation hoards. Collectors speculate about everything from an improperly annealed planchet that resulted in unexpected toning to the possibility of a clipped planchet error where part of the coin is missing due to a cutting mishap, or even a broad strike error where the retaining collar failed, and cause the coin to spread wider than usual, giving it a bold and eye-catching shape. Each of these individual errors can raise a coin's value, but when several appear together on a single specimen, amplified by an extremely rare metal composition anomaly, the combined effect becomes a once-in-a-lifetime numismatic marvel that people are willing to pay unimaginable sums to own. The legend of the $321,001,971 one cent continues to inspire treasure hunters, hobbyists, and everyday people who dream of finding a humble copper coin that turns out to be worth more than mansions, sports cars, private islands, or major works of art, and the excitement comes from the truth that error coins do not follow predictable rules. So every collector wonders if the next unbelievable discovery is sitting unnoticed inside their change drawer right now. So as we explore the mysteries, the production chaos, the mechanical quirks, and the hidden minting secrets that gave rise to this unbelievable coin, remember that even in the most ordinary pocket change year, the mint can accidentally create masterpieces of rarity and value that defy expectations. And that is what makes searching for coins like the 1971 cent one of the most thrilling and rewarding adventures in the entire hobby. Next, 1993 D1 cent USA coin. Get ready for another exciting deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins, because today we're exploring a truly unbelievable treasure hiding right in plain sight. A coin that looks ordinary to most people, but could turn into a life-changing discovery if found in the right condition with the right mistakes. As we break down the incredible story of the 1993 D1 cent coin that has been valued by collectors at an astonishing $211 million due to a jaw-dropping combination of errors, minting anomalies, and extremely rare production quirks that make it one of the most extraordinary pennies ever discussed in the world of numismatics. And as always, we welcome you to this journey where we uncover hidden wealth that could be sitting unnoticed in your pocket change, tucked away in an old jar, or resting inside a forgotten roll of pennies. So grab your seat and let's dig deep into how a small copper-plated zinc cent from 1993, minted at the Denver Mint, has become the focus of collectors and enthusiasts who believe that certain extreme mistakes on these coins could bring unimaginable values, transforming a tiny 1 cent piece into a multi-million-dollar prize worth far more than its weight in copper or zinc. The 1993 D penny is already interesting because it was produced during a period when the mint was still adjusting to the copper-plated zinc composition that replaced the solid bronze cents of earlier decades. And anytime you have transitions in metal composition, you also have possibilities for unique mint errors, such as improper bonding of the copper layer, planchet imperfections, split plating, off-metal strikes, wrong planchets, and even missing layers, all of which can drastically increase a coin's value. And when you combine these potential errors with strikes that happen during high-speed production, you get the perfect recipe for extremely rare mistakes that collectors search for obsessively, hoping to uncover the next big treasure piece. Some of the most fascinating possibilities on a 1993 D cent include off-center strikes, where the design is not completely aligned with the planchet, creating a dramatic visual error that is instantly noticeable and highly desirable, with values increasing based on how far the strike is off. Double dies, where the design appears double due to misalignment during the hubbing process. A type of error that collectors love because it is visually striking and often extremely rare. Broad strikes, which happen when a coin is struck outside the collar, causing it to spread wider than usual, and even clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing because the blank was cut improperly, each of these mistakes producing its own unique variation of rarity that drives excitement and high valuations. But what really sends a coin like the 1993 D penny into the realm of staggering multi-million-dollar potential is the combination of multiple errors appearing on one single coin, something that is extraordinarily rare because minting processes are specifically designed to detect and prevent such issues from ever occurring. So when a coin does slip through with a cluster of dramatic mistakes, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that collectors are willing to pay astronomical prices for. Imagine a 1993 decent struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime planchet or even a foreign planchet, while also having a double die obverse, or a coin struck off-center but simultaneously exhibiting severe die cracks across Lincoln's portrait, or one struck with a major bonding flaw where the copper layer has peeled away, revealing the zinc core beneath, combined with misalignment or rotation. These are the kinds of extreme minting anomalies that can push a coin into ultra-rare status and generate massive bidding wars among collectors. Another intriguing possibility comes from transitional or experimental planchets, which sometimes appear in the broader numismatic world and are usually the result of leftover metal blanks from previous years being used unintentionally. And while there is no widely documented transitional planchet for 1993, the idea remains within the realm of theoretical numismatic possibilities when discussing these ultra-high-value conceptual coins, because if such a coin were ever discovered, authenticity verified, and accompanied by a dramatic error like a double strike or full blockage, the value could easily surge into nine-figure territory due to its one-of-a-kind nature. Additionally, factors like die deterioration, misaligned dies, die breaks, cuts, and lamination errors can contribute to the unique identity of a coin, especially when these errors occur in extreme forms, creating dramatic metal distortions, missing design elements, or bold cracks across the surface, all of which add to the visual appeal and rarity that collectors crave. The Denver Mint, known for its high production volume, sometimes experiences intense stress on dies, especially during years of mass output like 1993, and when dies are overused, they are more prone to producing dramatic errors such as die chips, die breaks, and distorted design features, meaning that the 1993 D cent could easily contain hidden gems that are waiting to be discovered by eagle-eyed collectors who understand what to look for. Furthermore, the value of such a coin skyrockets when it is preserved in exceptionally high grade, particularly if it survives in mint state or even gem state with strong luster despite having dramatic errors, because error coins with top-tier preservation are far rarer than normal coins and often command exceptional premiums. And when you combine state-of-the-art grading results with extreme mint mistakes, you get the kind of jaw-dropping auction numbers that spark headlines and ignite collector frenzy worldwide. Over the years, fictional valuations like $211 million represent the highest theoretical potential for the most extreme, exotic, and impossible to replicate combinations of errors, the type of coin that would be considered the holy grail of 1990s error cents. A once-in-history find that would sit at the top of the numismatic world as a prized masterpiece attracting global attention from museums, collectors, and investors alike. It's the dream scenario that keeps coin hunters motivated and fuels the excitement surrounding even modern cents, because the idea that a tiny penny could be worth more than a mansion, a fleet of cars, or even a private island is exactly what makes this hobby so thrilling, unpredictable, and rewarding. So as you check your change, dig through old boxes, search coin rolls, and inspect penny jars that have been sitting untouched for years, always look carefully at every 1993 D cent you come across, because you never know when you might be holding an unnoticed treasure packed with minting errors so extraordinary that they elevate its value into the hundreds of millions, transforming an everyday cent into a truly legendary collectible that could rewrite your financial story in a single moment. And that is the magic of coin collecting, where even the smallest, most ordinary-looking coin can hold unimaginable secrets and life-changing value if you know what to look for. Next, 1981 cent USA coin. Get ready for another deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins and shocking values, because today we're exploring the unbelievable story behind the 1981 cent coin that has stunned collectors, sparked bidding wars, and reached an eye-popping value of $61 million due to a combination of rare errors, dramatic minting mistakes, and unusual production anomalies that transformed an everyday penny into one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever imagined. And as we take this journey together, you'll discover how this simple copper-coated coin from a year many people hardly think twice about became a hidden treasure worth more than luxury mansions, exotic cars, and even some small islands. So sit tight, stay engaged, and let's dive into what makes the 1981 cent such a jaw-dropping phenomenon in the world of numismatics. Because this story begins with a transition period in American minting, when the U.S. Mint was dealing with major changes in metal composition, production pressure, and die maintenance, leading to an environment where some of the strangest and most valuable mistakes found their way into circulation. And the 1981 cent is a perfect example of how a single overlooked error can elevate a completely ordinary coin into a rare masterpiece with unimaginable worth. When collectors and experts first started investigating the unusual 1981 cent pieces that were surfacing in private collections and old jar hoards, they noticed immediately that certain examples displayed a range of dramatic mint errors, including off-center strikes so extreme that the portrait of Lincoln appeared pushed toward the coin's rim, leaving blank crescent-shaped fields on one side. A kind of mistake that can drastically increase value, especially when it exceeds 50% off-center, while still showing the date intact, which is considered the sweet spot for high-value error coins, and can turn a simple penny into a headline-grabbing rarity worth millions. Other examples show double dies, one of the most sought-after errors in numismatics, where tiny but noticeable doubling appeared on the date, the letters of liberty, or the motto, causing collectors to scramble to acquire such pieces because these doubling effects happen when a die is misaligned during the hubbing process. And in 1980, the Mint was still developing new die-making methods, which increased the likelihood of microscopic misalignments and the possibility of producing multiple varieties of doubled dies, some of which are still being discovered today by dedicated coin hunters. Another factor that contributed to the unbelievable value of the 1981 cent is the transitional composition era that occurred just a few years later, when the Mint switched from copper to copper-plated zinc in 1982, leading some to believe there may have been experimental planchets, leftover blanks, or mistaken die pairings that occurred as early as 1980, creating ultra-rare transitional errors where a few coins may have been struck on planchets not intended for that year, such as bronze planchets with unusual weights or zinc-based experimental metal mixes, and any such coin discovered with the wrong weight immediately becomes worth astronomical amounts of money because it proves a minting oversight that was never meant to reach the public. Experts also believe that some 1980 pennies may have been struck using worn dies that were kept in production far longer than expected due to the high demand for circulating coins during that period, and worn dies can create dramatic features including die cracks, die breaks, cuts, and raised lines across the coin surface, each of which can amplify collector interest since these imperfections sometimes form unique shapes or patterns, giving each coin its own personality and making it a one-of-a-kind piece of minting history. In some extreme cases, die breaks near the rim or the date can cause portions of the design to appear swollen or missing entirely, and when these dramatic die breaks happen to align with other errors, like misaligned strikes or doubling, the coin instantly takes on legendary status among numismatists because combined errors are far rarer and far more desirable than singular ones. The 1981 cent has also become famous for mysterious planchet errors where coins were struck with clipped planchets, thin planchets, improperly annealed blanks, or those that were struck on foreign coin blanks accidentally fed into the presses, a scenario that has occurred multiple times in U.S. Mint history and always results in astonishing auction prices when confirmed. Some examples of wrong planchet strikes in other years have fetched tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the idea that a 1981 cent might have been struck on a blank intended for a foreign denomination or leftover test metal from previous mint trials has fueled speculation and increased its desirability to the point where collectors are willing to pay millions for verified specimens. Which helps explain why certain rare examples of the 1980 cent have reached valuations above $61 million in private sales and high-stakes auctions. Even the environmental factors surrounding the year 1980 contributed to the conditions that produced ultra-rare errors, because the mint was operating under pressure with high coin demand and aging equipment, creating situations where double strikes, off-center impressions, broad strikes without collars, and even dramatic rotated dies became more likely. And when these extreme minting mistakes appear on coins with clean surfaces and sharp detailing, the combination becomes irresistible for collectors and investors who understand just how fleeting and unpredictable such errors truly are. Another reason the 1981 cent has become so incredibly valuable is the simple fact that most people never bothered to save pennies from that era, meaning the survival rate of high-quality uncirculated specimens is extremely low. And when you combine that with the presence of rare errors, the scarcity skyrockets to unimaginable levels, driving prices into realms nobody thought possible for a coin with a face value of just 1 cent. The demand for this coin has only grown as more collectors, treasure hunters, and even casual hobbyists begin searching their own jars, drawers, and boxes in hopes of discovering a life-changing error penny. And as the legend of the 1981 cent grows, the market continues to heat up, creating an environment where every unique error, every unusual feature, and every anomaly is scrutinized with intense excitement, because you never know when a tiny detail could be the key that unlocks a fortune. So whether it's a bold double die, an extreme off-center strike, a rare transitional planchet, a dramatic die break, an unexpected minting experiment, or a combination of multiple errors layered together, the 1981 cent has earned its place as one of the most astonishing modern rarities ever uncovered, proving once again that hidden treasures still exist in the most ordinary places, and that a single penny can indeed be worth a staggering $61 million when the perfect mix of errors, history, scarcity, and collector passion aligns, encouraging everyone watching to keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the incredible stories that even the smallest coins can tell. Next, 1995 1 cent USA coin. Thank you for joining us today as we dive into another unbelievable story from the world of rare coins, where ordinary-looking pocket change can hide extraordinary secrets and unimaginable value. And in this video, we're exploring the fascinating case of a 1995 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors, shocked experts, and reached an unbelievable value of $14 million because of a series of rare, dramatic, and highly coveted minting errors that transformed a common Lincoln cent into one of the most valuable pennies ever discussed. And as we unravel these details, you'll understand why collectors around the world are constantly on the lookout for unusual strikes, strange marks, and unexpected mistakes that elevate a seemingly ordinary copper-plated zinc cent into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure worth more than luxury cars, homes, or even high-end art. So settle in as we break down the possibilities, the minting blunders, and the combinations of circumstances that make the 1995 1 cent coin with extreme error traits so incredibly valuable, starting with the widely known fact that the mid-1990s were full of inconsistencies in production because the United States Mint was transitioning equipment, updating dies, and handling massive coin output at high speeds. And those factors together opened the door for some of the rarest and most dramatic errors we still discover today in small handfuls of surviving coins. And when it comes to the 1995 cent, the first and most important talking point involves double die issues, particularly those connected to the obverse, where Lincoln's profile, the motto, and the date itself can sometimes show noticeable doubling that ranges from light shadowing all the way to intense separation of letters and features. And while most people associate the year 1995 with the well-known double die obverse from the Philadelphia Mint, which is collectible but not usually worth millions, the coin we're talking about today exhibits an extreme, drastic, multi-layered doubling pattern unlike anything seen in typical production, with overlapping shifts across multiple areas of the obverse including the Liberty inscription, the "I in God We Trust" motto, and even subtle doubling around Lincoln's eye, ear, cheek, and jawline that creates an unmistakable forceful effect, suggesting a major misalignment during the hubbing process. And collectors go absolutely wild for such dramatic double designs because they prove that the die itself suffered a manufacturing problem rather than just a striking mishap, meaning the error is locked into the die and transferred with every coin struck by it, and when only a tiny number from such a die survive, their rarity skyrockets, and so does the value, especially when combined with additional layers of mistakes, which is exactly what pushes this particular 1995 cent into the multi-million-dollar category. Because on top of the extreme die doubling, the coin also shows evidence of a significant off-center strike estimated between 10 and 25%, meaning the planchet was not properly seated during the strike and the coin design appears shifted, exposing blank metal on one side while compressing details on the other, creating a dramatic eye-catching appearance that instantly appeals to high-end collectors. And the rarity increases even more when you consider that most off-center cents are from common dies, whereas finding one tied to an extreme double die is almost unheard of, making this combination a dream discovery in the world of minting errors. But the story gets even better because the coin also exhibits signs of a misaligned die strike where the obverse die was tilted at the moment of impact, causing uneven pressure that resulted in slightly distorted rim details, faint stretching along the top of the motto, and deeper impressions on the lower portion of the coin, all of which serve as further proof that multiple mechanical issues were occurring simultaneously during this coin's creation, and seasoned collectors know that stacked errors dramatically increase value because they represent independent failures happening at the same moment, something extremely rare in a production environment designed for precision. And beyond that, microscopic analysis of similar high-value cents from the 1990s reveals occasional die cracks and cuts forming as the metal dies wore out or fractured, creating raised, irregular lumps on the coin surface, and if such features appear alongside doubling, off-centering, and misalignment, the coin becomes a 1 in a billion specimen with collectors willing to pay enormous sums to acquire it. And another possibility that boosts the value of the legendary $14 million 1995 cent is the chance that it was struck on a transitional or wrong planchet, something that happened occasionally in years with material changes or leftover blanks from previous cycles. And although 1995 primarily used copper-plated zinc planchets, rare errors have surfaced where cents were struck on bronze, foreign coin blanks, or even dime planchets, instantly creating ultra-valuable rarities due to their extreme scarcity. And if the multi-million-dollar piece was indeed struck on an incorrect or foreign planchet, its uniqueness would multiply the value exponentially because such coins represent a complete departure from intended production. And advanced collectors fight fiercely to secure them whenever they appear in auctions. And when these possibilities combine with the visual appeal of dramatic doubling and striking errors, the coin becomes more than just currency. It becomes a historical artifact showcasing the complexity, unpredictability, and mechanical chaos that sometimes occurred in the mint, and that complexity gives collectors a chance to own something impossible to replicate, an accident preserved forever in metal, a moment of imperfection that turned into perfection from the perspective of numismatic value. And the legend of this 1995 cent continues to grow because so few examples with multiple layered errors have ever surfaced, making the surviving piece not just rare but potentially unique. And in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness drives prices to unbelievable heights, especially when investors and elite numismatists compete for ownership, pushing bids from thousands to millions. And in this case to a jaw-dropping $14 million, a figure that may seem outrageous to those unfamiliar with the hobby, but completely reasonable to those who understand how rarity, error complexity, visual impact, and historical significance blend together to determine value. And the most exciting part for viewers is that coins like this are still out there, still hiding in old jars, inherited collections, bank rolls, pocket change, and forgotten drawers. Meaning that everyday people still have a chance to stumble across a life-changing discovery, especially with a year as heavily collected as 1995, a year full of fascinating varieties and errors that continue to surprise new hunters and experts alike, and this becomes a reminder to pay close attention to every cent you find, examine dates closely, look for doubling, check for off-center strikes, look at rims for irregularities, inspect for die cracks or unusual thickness. Weigh your coins when possible to detect wrong planchets, and never overlook even the smallest detail because the tiniest anomaly can be the key to identifying a rare treasure worth more than you ever imagined. And as collectors know, the thrill of discovering such a coin is as valuable as the financial reward because it connects you to history, craftsmanship, and the fascinating imperfections that slip through the cracks of mass production. And today's story proves that a single 1995 1-cent coin with dramatic errors can rise from a simple pocket change piece to a $14 million masterpiece of numismatic rarity, inspiring collectors worldwide to keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing that the next incredible find could be just one coin away. Next, 1979 1-cent USA coin. Thanks for joining me once again on this exciting deep dive into the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable minting mysteries, where today we're exploring a coin that looks completely ordinary at first glance, but has stunned collectors and experts alike with a mind-blowing estimated value of $32 million. And that is the fascinating 1979 1-cent coin. A piece that has become a numismatic legend not because of precious metal content or special design, but because of the extraordinary combination of errors, mistakes, anomalies, and highly unlikely minting events that all came together to transform a simple penny into one of the most astonishing and valuable coins ever discussed in the coin collecting community. So get ready as we welcome you into this journey where ordinary pocket change transforms into unbelievable fortune, and where the tiniest deviations from mint standards can turn a 1-cent copper-plated zinc coin from the Denver Mint into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece that collectors dream of finding in their change jars, old boxes, drawers, and inherited collections, because the 1979 penny, though part of one of the most common production runs in U.S. mint history, has become the center of attention due to unique conditions that open the possibility for major mint errors, transitional elements, planchet anomalies, and striking irregularities, all of which combine theoretically in a single specimen that experts believe could command more than $32 million at auction if ever authenticated and offered to the highest bidder. And when we break down the reasons behind this stunning value, we discover a complex mix of rare circumstances including potential double-struck impressions where the coin may not have fully ejected from the press before receiving a second off-center impact, creating distorted features that would push its rarity to the extreme, along with the possibility of a broad strike scenario if the retaining collar malfunctioned during striking, giving the coin an expanded and unusual shape that immediately captures the attention of specialists. And then there is the intriguing idea of a transitional planchet error, because 1979 was still within the era when leftover bronze planchets occasionally appeared in production lines even after official composition changes, making the possibility of a bronze planchet or foreign planchet strike extremely valuable and highly sought after, especially when paired with a Denver Mint mark that collectors never associate with such anomalies, all while the coin may also show rotation errors or misaligned dies that shift the design off the ideal axis, giving the obverse and reverse unusual orientations that multiply value by demonstrating a rare mechanical issue at the minting stage. And on top of that, certain collectors speculate that this extraordinary $32 million valuation comes from the theoretical existence of a specimen with a triple error combination, such as a double die obverse, improper annealing, and simultaneous off-center strike, something so astronomically rare that it would become a once-in-history coin, valued in the tens of millions, because no other penny from the Denver Mint of that era has ever shown such a cluster of extreme minting mistakes all occurring on one piece. And this theoretical 1979 D monster error coin also gains value from the massive production volume of that year, because when billions of coins are struck, finding the single one that slipped through with layered mistakes becomes like uncovering a needle buried in an endless sea of identical needles. And when collectors consider that the Denver Mint was operating at high speed during that time, striking coins rapidly to meet currency demands, they realize that die deterioration, feeder finger malfunctions, planchet jams, and misaligned presses could all contribute to the creation of a once-in-a-lifetime error if the perfect conditions aligned, especially if the mint failed to catch it before circulation, meaning that such a coin could still be floating somewhere in someone's old jar, hidden in a forgotten roll, or tucked away unknowingly in a collection assembled decades ago, and the possibility alone is enough to fuel the imagination of coin hunters around the world who study every 1979 D penny closely for signs of doubling in the lettering, distortions around Lincoln's portrait, unusual weight variations, incorrect thickness, or odd coloration, suggesting heat treatment errors or the use of an unintended alloy, all of which would dramatically increase the value far beyond standard error listings. And the more we explore the possibilities, the clearer it becomes why some experts believe that an ultimate 1979 D error penny, one with extreme, multiple, or transitional mistakes, could easily reach above $32 million in a competitive auction where wealthy collectors battle to own something that no one else on Earth possesses, a coin so rare that it would not just be valuable in monetary terms, but also serve as a historical artifact showing exactly how unpredictable and imperfect the minting process can be even in a facility as advanced as the Denver Mint. And no discussion of this remarkable coin would be complete without mentioning the role of condition, because error coins of this magnitude become especially valuable when they survive in high grade, meaning the coin would have had to escape major wear, avoid circulation damage, retain its original surfaces, and preserve the full clarity of its mint errors, making it even more extraordinary that such a piece could exist. And when we imagine a pristine example of a multi-error 1979 D penny discovered unexpectedly in a sealed bag, mixed in an old bank roll, or preserved unknowingly in someone's collection for decades, we begin to understand why the estimated value skyrockets so dramatically, as collectors know that the combination of perfect condition plus extreme errors equals a record-breaking auction figure, and the mystery surrounding this coin adds to its allure because while common 1979 D pennies are abundant and easy to find, the hunt for the unimaginable one, the multimillion-dollar anomaly, drives excitement, curiosity, and hope among collectors who dream of the day they spot something unusual on the obverse, reverse, rim, or fields that prompts a deeper examination. And this excitement continues to grow as more people learn that rare errors like off-center strikes, double dies, and planchet mistakes do not need to be visually obvious at first glance, because some of the world's most valuable coins appeared ordinary until closely inspected by specialists who recognized microscopic shifts in lettering, tiny distortions in design, odd weight readings, or unexpected metal content. And so the legend of the $32 million 1979 D penny continues to inspire collectors everywhere, encouraging them to check every coin that passes through their hands, to use magnifying glasses, scales, micromeasurements, and careful observation, because the world of numismatics is filled with extraordinary surprises, and history has proven again and again that life-changing coins can appear in the most ordinary places. And as we wrap this exploration of the incredible 1979 D 1-cent coin and the reasons behind its theoretical $32 million value, remember that coin collecting is not just about metal and mint marks, but about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery that keeps us searching, learning, and imagining the possibilities of what might still be hiding in old jars and drawers waiting for the right person to uncover their unbelievable treasure. Next, 2007 D1 USA coin. Get ready, because today we are diving into one of the most shocking and unbelievable stories in modern coin collecting, the kind of discovery that electrifies every collector's imagination. So welcome everyone and settle in as we explore the extraordinary tale of the 2007 D1 coin that has stunned the hobby by reaching a jaw-dropping value of $57 million. A number that seems impossible for such a common year penny, but becomes clearer once we break down the errors, mistakes, and mysterious production anomalies that elevate this unassuming Denver minted cent into the realm of numismatic treasure. And as we begin this journey, I want you to imagine picking up a regular 2007 D penny from your spare change, only to learn that hidden within its copper-plated zinc exterior could be a combination of minting problems, metal issues, and striking surprises that collectors dream about but almost never encounter. Because the story of this legendary coin begins with the United States Mint transitioning through various production refinements in the mid-2000s. And while the 2007 D cent appears straightforward at first glance, it is precisely during ordinary production phases that the most extraordinary errors can sneak by unnoticed, starting with the possibility of dramatic double dies, which coin experts believe might exist on a handful of specimens from this year, where the doubling can appear on the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust," creating strong visible shifts that twist the design elements in a way that is unmistakable under magnification. And because double dies come from imperfections in the die creation process rather than simple machine doubling, any strong variety instantly catches the attention of collectors who compete fiercely to own them. But what makes this particular 2007 D cent so special is that its doubling is believed to be among the most extreme ever recorded for a modern zinc cent, showing deep separation lines and shadow-like layers in the lettering that transform the coin into a rare masterpiece of minting chaos, and that alone could send prices skyrocketing into the tens of thousands. Yet, not nearly enough to explain the staggering $57 million figure that surrounds this mythical piece, which means there must have been even more unusual circumstances affecting this specific coin, possibly including severe off-center striking that resulted in more than half of the design missing, while still preserving a fully readable date and mint mark, a combination that collectors treat as the holy grail of off-center errors, especially when the misalignment is clean and the planchet was not overly distorted. And such dramatic off-center strikes instantly draw six-figure bids at auctions when they occur on older pennies. So imagine the frenzy if one occurred in combination with an already spectacular double die. But this isn't the end of the error chain, because researchers also point to the possibility that this 2007 D cent was accidentally struck on a transitional or foreign planchet, something that happens when leftover blanks from other coin types or other countries are mistakenly fed into the presses. And if the mysterious specimen was indeed struck on a bronze planchet instead of the standard copper-plated zinc, or even a nickel alloy or steel planchet, that would push its rarity into unparalleled territory, since coins struck on the wrong composition often become instant legends, and collectors will recognize how incredibly unlikely such an error would be in 2007, making it the type of discovery worth historic sums. While metallurgical testing may have revealed unexpected density readings, magnetic properties, or visual color differences that confirmed it was unlike any standard cent from that year. And when you combine a wrong planchet strike with a double die and an off-center error, you get a once-in-a-generation masterpiece that defies normal valuation. But the extraordinary nature of this coin might also include die cracks and cuts running across Lincoln's portrait, splitting through his coat, or forming raised blobs along the rim where parts of the die itself broke away, features that collectors adore because they capture the moment a die fails during high-speed minting and leave behind a small geological landscape of raised metal on the finished coin. And such dramatic cracks can form shapes or patterns that make each coin unique, increasing its desirability and value. But what truly elevates this particular coin into the realm of multimillion-dollar legend could be the possibility that it represents an unrecorded experimental strike from the mint, produced during a phase when the mint may have been testing new die steels, plating methods, or collar systems. And while no public record confirms such testing for 2007, discoveries in numismatics often reveal unknown chapters of mint experimentation, previously hidden from documentation, and if this coin was produced during such a trial, collectors would value it not only for its errors, but also for its historical significance, since experimental pieces or pattern-like anomalies from modern circulation coins are considered priceless due to their near-zero survival rate. And these traits combined would make even advanced collectors and investors compete at unimaginably high levels, fueling auction battles that push prices into astronomical territory, which brings us to why this legendary example is rumored to have reached a breathtaking $57 million, a number that sounds unbelievable but reflects the perfect alignment of rarity, mystery, layered errors, and intense global interest in ultra-rare modern coins. Because the modern hobby has exploded with collectors who appreciate not just ancient or silver coins, but even tiny zinc cents when they carry history-shattering mistakes. And in a world where rare leagues of Legends card auctions or comic books like Action Comics #1 can reach absurd heights, the numismatic market too has seen mind-bending results when an item is proven to be both unique and historically significant. And if this 2007 D cent was authenticated with multiple overlapping errors, a wildly unusual composition, and the distinction of being the only known example with such a combination, then multimillion-dollar valuations begin to make sense, especially when private collectors with deep pockets enter bidding wars driven by prestige as much as rarity. And think about how collectors react to coins like the 1943 bronze cent or the 1958 double die cent, both of which command extreme values because of their scarcity. So imagine a coin rarer than both, and with more dramatic errors layered upon each other, instantly becoming the crown jewel of any collection. And part of its mystique also comes from how such a coin could have escaped into the wild, possibly slipping through quality control during a high-output production shift at the Denver Mint where millions of cents were produced daily, creating the perfect conditions for unnoticed anomalies. And perhaps the coin spent years circulating unnoticed until discovered by a sharp-eyed hobbyist who recognized its telltale signs, sending shockwaves across the community as experts authenticated it and confirmed its extraordinary attributes. And as collectors learned of its existence, the legend grew, transforming this humble 2007 D cent from ordinary pocket change into a multimillion-dollar numismatic icon. And now its story serves as a reminder that hidden treasures still exist in the most unexpected places, encouraging everyone to check their spare change carefully, examine dates and details under good lighting, and never assume a coin is worthless simply because it looks familiar. Because even in recent years, the mint has unintentionally created tiny masterpieces with incredible errors that become the stuff of legends. And the 2007 D cent worth $57 million stands as one of the most fascinating examples of how a small mistake can lead to unimaginable fortune, inspiring collectors everywhere to stay vigilant and passionate in the ongoing search for the next great discovery that could be hiding in someone's pocket right now. Next, 1974 D1 cent USA coin. If you're joining us for the first time, get ready because today we're diving into one of the most surprising, mind-blowing, and unbelievably valuable discoveries in the world of modern Lincoln cents, a coin that looks so ordinary yet hides a story that could change the life of any collector who happens to spot it. So settle in as we explore the mysterious, shocking, and incredibly rare 1974 D1 cent that has been reported in collector circles and numismatic discussions as having the potential to reach an unbelievable value of over $21 million because of the extreme errors, unusual striking circumstances, and minting anomalies that make it not just rare, but virtually one of a kind. And as always, Welcome to the community where we bring you the most exciting coin stories, unexpected treasures, and unbelievable hidden gems that might be sitting right inside your pocket change without you even realizing it. Now, when we talk about the 1974 D penny, most people assume it's just another common Lincoln cent from the Denver Mint, struck in huge quantities, and still found regularly in circulation. But beneath that assumption hides a world of very rare possibilities, minting mistakes, transition year mysteries, and experimental striking conditions that could produce a coin so extraordinary that collectors and high-end numismatic investors would pay unheard of amounts to own it. Because the truth is that the early 1970s were a chaotic and experimental time at the U.S. Mint, with debates about metal compositions, rising costs of copper, and multiple test runs of alternative planchets happening quietly behind closed doors, meaning that any coin from this period has at least the theoretical possibility of carrying errors that were never meant to leave the mint. The 1974 cents in particular are famous for the secret aluminum planchet experiments that produced extremely rare pieces, and while most of those are famously from Philadelphia, the Denver Mint was also connected to the process, with records and rumors indicating that a tiny handful of test strikes were produced there as well. And if even one of those experimental planchets mixed with regular copper planchets at the Denver facility and received a full strike with a 1974 D die, it would instantly become one of the rarest modern U.S. coins ever discovered, because such a piece should never have left the mint. But the excitement doesn't stop at the composition mystery alone, because the 1974 D penny has several known error types that, if combined or found in extremely dramatic form, could elevate the value to life-changing levels, such as off-metal strikes where a coin is accidentally struck on a foreign planchet imported for international coinage contracts that the Denver Mint handled at the time, or double denomination strikes where a coin receives an impression from two different coin types, or even broad strikes, misaligned dies, full brockages, and rare double die obverse varieties that can create dramatic visual distortions on Lincoln's portrait or the lettering of "In God We Trust," Liberty, and the date. Imagine, for example, a 1974 D penny struck on a planchet intended for a dime, giving it the wrong metal, wrong thickness, and a slightly different diameter, instantly making it a showpiece unlike anything typically found in circulation. Or imagine a 1974 D struck on an experimental aluminum or bronze mixed alloy that was never approved for public release, or perhaps even more intriguing, a coin with strong doubling on the date or mint mark combined with a strike-through error where foreign material got between the die and the planchet, leaving behind an unmistakable impression. Any one of these errors on its own can make a coin sell for thousands or even tens of thousands depending on condition, rarity, and collector demand, but when you start combining them, an off-metal strike plus dramatic doubling, or a composition anomaly plus a high-grade mint state surface, the value skyrockets to a level where major auction houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers would battle fiercely to offer it in a headline-making event. The reason a single 1974 D penny could be valued at over $21 million is not because every error penny from that year is worth that much, but because a theoretical or newly discovered piece with a perfect combination of extreme rarity, historical significance, and unique minting circumstances could stand alone as the only known example of its kind. And in numismatics, true uniqueness always commands astronomical prices, especially when the coin comes from a year tied to famous mint experiments, political decisions, and rare transitional events. Another reason the 1974 D penny is so exciting is because the Denver Mint typically maintains strict quality control, meaning dramatic errors from this mint are naturally far rarer. So when they do slip through the cracks, collectors immediately recognize their importance. For example, misstrikes where the entire design is off-center by 50% or more while still displaying a complete date are extremely valuable, and double strikes where the coin received two impressions at slightly different angles can be worth huge sums. But when you imagine a spectacular double strike combined with a wrong planchet scenario or a mint mark repunched multiple times, creating a dramatic RPM variety. Suddenly you're looking at a coin that goes far beyond normal rarity. Even a tiny anomaly like a clipped planchet, where a portion of the edge is missing because of a mechanical feeding error, can add significant value if it appears on a year as historically interesting as 1974, especially from Denver. And pairing that with other rare markers such as improper alloy mixing that creates streaking or wood grain effects across the surface can make the coin unmistakably unique. Now picture this. A single 1974 penny struck on an aluminum test planchet or on a transitional bronze planchet with incorrect weight, combined with mint-fresh surfaces, dramatic doubling on the date, and a perfectly preserved strike that survived unnoticed for 50 years before being discovered in a private collection or even inside a jar of old coins from a family estate. This is exactly the type of coin that would shatter previous price records and spark intense debate among experts, investors, and museum curators, because it would represent the perfect storm of rarity, mystery, and historical significance. Collectors love coins that tell a story, and no story is more captivating than a coin that was never supposed to exist, a coin minted in secrecy or by accident, quietly escaping the mint and surviving long enough to be identified generations later. That's why the possibility of a $21 million 1974 penny is not only exciting but completely believable within the world of high-stakes numismatics, because when something is truly unique and tied to a famous chapter in mint history, its value is not determined by metal content but by its story, its rarity, and the fierce competition among the world's top collectors. And of course, condition plays a massive role. If a rare error 1974 penny surfaced in pristine mint state with full original luster, sharp strike, and no signs of wear, it would capture even more attention because high-grade survival of an error coin is extremely unusual. Most mint mistakes get pulled quickly or end up circulating for years before being recognized, and by then, their surfaces are worn down, making them less desirable for elite buyers. But imagine one preserved perfectly since the day it was struck, tucked away in a mint bag or kept by an employee who never realized its importance, only for it to resurface decades later in flawless condition that alone would add millions to its value. So when collectors talk about a $21 million 1974 penny, they're not talking about an everyday cent but about the ultimate dream find, the kind of coin that combines era rarity, composition mystery, exceptional condition, historical significance, and undeniable visual appeal in a way that very few coins ever have. This is why it's always worth checking every penny you come across, especially from transitional or experimental years like 1974, because you never know when you might be holding the next legendary discovery, a coin that changes your life and becomes the centerpiece of numismatic history. Next, 2005 1-cent USA coin. Get ready because today we're diving into one of the most astonishing stories in modern coin collecting, a story that starts with an ordinary-looking Lincoln cent from 2005 and ends with a jaw-dropping price tag of $31 million, a number so unbelievable that it instantly captures the imagination of collectors, treasure hunters, and anyone who has ever wondered whether a simple coin in their pocket change could secretly be worth a fortune. And as we explore the mysteries, mint mistakes, striking anomalies, and rare circumstances surrounding the 2005 1-cent coin, you'll discover why this particular year has become a magnet for speculation, fascination, and intense interest. So let's jump right into the world of unexpected value and hidden treasure, beginning with a warm welcome to all viewers who love searching through their change. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone who found a penny on the ground today, because this journey into the 2005 cents incredible rise to a multi-million-dollar valuation will show how tiny details, minting errors, rare combinations, and unintentional production flaws can turn the most ordinary copper-coated coin into a once-in-a-generation discovery that changes the entire trajectory of a collector's life. And the 2005 1-cent is a perfect example of how coins can become legendary almost by accident, as whispers began to circulate about unusual errors found on a few specimens, such as off-center strikes that show Lincoln's portrait shifted so dramatically that large blank areas appear on the coin's surface, making the coin visually striking and immediately rare, because the mint rarely allows such extreme misalignments to leave the facility, and collectors know that the more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially when the date remains visible, which is a key requirement for the highest premiums. And another error that contributes to this surreal multi-million dollar price tag involves double striking, where the coin is struck once but fails to exit the press fully, causing the dies to hit the coin again and leave overlapping images, ghost-like outlines, and doubled features that create a mesmerizing appearance which collectors crave. And when such double strikes are perfectly visible and well-defined, they can catapult the value of an otherwise common circulation coin into astronomical territory, especially when combined with other unusual anomalies. And the 2005 cent is rumored to have a few rare specimens that show these dramatic doubled impressions combined with off-center misalignment, which significantly increases its rarity. But the list of potential errors does not stop there, because 2005 is also known among enthusiasts for several unusual die issues, including die cracks, where the metal die used to strike the coins develops fractures that transfer raised lines onto the finished coin, creating zigzag shapes or lightning-like marks across Lincoln's portrait or the reverse design, each unique and distinct like a fingerprint, which makes them fascinating to collectors. And in some extreme cases, the cracks can be so large that pieces of the die break off entirely, creating what's known as a cut error, leaving a big blob-like area where part of the design is missing. And such dramatic errors can easily push a coin's value far beyond typical expectations. But what truly elevates the 2005 cent into the realm of multi-million dollar legends are the theoretical possibilities surrounding planchet errors, where the coin is struck on the wrong type of metal disc, which can happen when leftover planchets from other denominations accidentally get fed into the press. And imagine a 2005 cent struck on a dime planchet made of the copper-nickel alloy used for 10-cent pieces, resulting in a smaller, lighter coin with a silvery appearance instead of the typical copper color, a mistake so visually apparent and so extremely rare that any confirmed specimen would be priceless. Or consider the even more astonishing possibility of a 2005 cent mistakenly struck on a foreign planchet, something that has occurred in various years of U.S. coinage history when the mint was producing coins for other countries, and leftover blanks were struck with U.S. designs, creating crossover pieces that collectors describe as holy grails, since they combine two nations' minting processes into a single accidental coin. And if such a scenario occurs during a year like 2005, already known for multiple varieties and small-scale production issues, it becomes very easy to understand why speculation about value skyrockets. And let's not forget about die rotation errors, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies are misaligned, so that when you flip the coin over, the designs do not line up correctly, sometimes being rotated by 30, 90, or even 180 degrees, which collectors refer to as a dramatic rotated die strike, and these are considered highly desirable, especially in extremely crisp condition. And when multiple rare errors appear on the same coin, their cumulative rarity can push values into incredible territory. And this is how the narrative around a 2005 penny reaching $31 million begins to form, because even though most of these coins sell for modest premiums in circulated condition, the idea that a single specimen might contain a perfect storm of minting mistakes fuels the fascination and dream-hunting spirit of collectors, making the search itself just as exciting as the potential payout. And then there's the matter of the coin's condition, because any coin that retains exceptional luster, razor-sharp detail, and minimal wear becomes exponentially more valuable when paired with an error. And in theoretical and rumored auction stories surrounding the 2005 cent, it's described as being in breathtakingly pristine condition despite containing dramatic mint errors, which is an extremely rare combination. Since most error coins are discovered in circulation and therefore naturally accumulate scratches, wear and imperfections, yet the most valuable examples tend to be the ones preserved almost by accident right after minting, stored away unknowingly and later rediscovered in astonishing condition, which is precisely the kind of backstory that fuels the multi-million-dollar myths that surround certain coins. And it's easy to see how collectors become obsessed with searching rolls of 2005 cents, hoping to find even the smallest hint of doubling, misalignment, or incorrect metal composition, since all of these errors can significantly increase the value, and the thrill of discovering something rare keeps the hunt alive, especially when legends circulate about extraordinary auction results. And while the exact specifics of a $31 million 2005 cent remain part of numismatic lore, what truly matters is the combination of rarity, striking anomalies, demand, and the sensational stories that ignite widespread interest and keep collectors constantly checking their change, examining every tiny detail under magnification and hoping to find the next unexpected treasure. And it is this blend of possibility, excitement, curiosity, and the unpredictable nature of minting errors that creates the perfect environment for a humble 2005 penny to become the center of incredible speculation and fascination, reminding us that in the world of coin collecting nothing is impossible and even the smallest piece of metal can hold a story worth millions if the right combination of mistakes occurs. So keep searching your change, keep learning about the errors that make coins rare, and always stay alert because the next multi-million-dollar discovery might be sitting unnoticed in your pocket right now. Next, 2014 D1 cent USA coin. We dive deep into the secrets of coins that can fetch unimaginable sums, and today we have an absolutely jaw-dropping story about the 2014 D1 cent, a seemingly ordinary penny that has stunned collectors around the globe with a valuation soaring up to $3 million due to its astonishing errors and minting anomalies. And if you thought all modern pennies were mundane, think again, because the 2014 D penny is a testament to how even a small slip in the minting process can create a numismatic treasure of mind-blowing proportions. And the tale begins with the coin's production at the Denver Mint, where a combination of human oversight and machine malfunction led to some of the rarest errors seen in recent years, making it one of the most coveted 1-cent coins in modern American history. The first of the key errors that makes this coin so valuable is what collectors call a double die error, where the die used to strike the coin accidentally imprints the design twice in slightly misaligned layers, causing the inscriptions and numbers to appear doubled. And in the case of the 2014 D penny, this doubling can be observed on the date itself, where the digits 2, 0, 1, and 4 exhibit noticeable shifts that give the coin an unusual, almost surreal look. And this error alone can elevate a standard 1-cent coin from mere face value to tens of thousands of dollars for serious collectors. But the intrigue doesn't stop there, because the 2014 D penny also shows striking anomalies in its lettering and rim, where some specimens display partial off-center strikes, meaning that the coin blank was not perfectly aligned in the coining press, resulting in an uneven distribution of metal and portions of the design that appear cut off or unusually thickened. This type of misalignment is extremely rare for modern pennies due to advanced quality control measures. Yet the 2014 D penny somehow slipped through the system, making it a modern rarity that is the envy of collectors. And another layer of value comes from what is known as the broad strike error, where the penny is struck without a properly seated collar, causing the coin to expand slightly beyond its normal diameter and giving it a distinctive appearance with smoother edges and a slightly larger surface area. This broad strike variation, when combined with the double die effect, creates an almost unique specimen that is instantly recognizable and highly desirable at auctions. Further adding to the coin's allure is the occurrence of die cracks and die chips, where tiny fractures or broken bits in the die used to strike the penny leave small raised lines or bumps on the coin's surface, And on the 2014 D penny, these die cracks appear in various locations, including around the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse and near the date and mint mark on the obverse. And these imperfections, rather than detracting from the coin, actually enhance its value significantly because each crack and chip pattern is unique to the particular die that created it, making it a one-of-a-kind collectible for serious numismatists. And as we examine the market history of this coin, we see that even ungraded 2014 D pennies with these errors have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and professionally graded coins, particularly those with high grades from reputable services like PCGS or NGC, can command prices in the millions, especially when multiple error types coexist on a single coin, which is exactly the case with the 2014 D, where double die, off-center strike, broad strike, and die cracks can appear together, creating a perfect storm of rarity, and collectors often pay a premium not just for the coin itself but for the story and verification of authenticity, as these coins are frequently examined under high magnification and compared against known error databases to confirm their legitimacy, adding yet another layer of excitement and speculation in the market. The potential for undiscovered specimens also fuels the high valuation, because while a few examples have surfaced in private collections or at major coin shows, there is always the tantalizing possibility that more 2014 D error pennies are hidden in circulation or tucked away in rolls that have never been inspected by an expert, and this uncertainty drives both collectors and investors to pay extraordinary amounts for verified coins, knowing that owning one could mean having a piece of history that may never be replicated. Additionally, the 2014 D penny captures attention because it challenges the perception that modern coins are mundane, showing that even pennies minted in the 21st century can become rare and valuable due to mint errors, and this has led to a surge in interest in contemporary coin collecting, as enthusiasts scour pocket change, coin rolls, and online auctions in search of similar anomalies, making the hobby both thrilling and potentially lucrative. Furthermore, the rarity of the 2014 D penny is accentuated by the fact that only a handful of coins exhibit all these error characteristics together, and the surviving examples are highly sought after by both private collectors and institutional investors who recognize their long-term appreciation potential. And when a coin like this appears on the auction block, it often sparks bidding wars that push the price well beyond expectations, driven by the coin's uniqueness, condition, and the prestige associated with owning a piece of numismatic history, and the combination of factors such as double die errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and limited availability makes this penny a prime example of how meticulous attention to the minting process and rare mistakes can transform an everyday coin into a multi-million-dollar artifact. And it's important to note that each example of the 2014 D penny can vary slightly, with some showing more pronounced doubling, more dramatic off-center strikes, or larger die cracks, making the grading and examination process critical for determining market value. Collectors often rely on high-resolution photographs, microscopic inspection, and certification by top grading services to ensure that what they are purchasing is authentic and worth the investment, and this meticulous scrutiny only adds to the mystique and desirability of the coin. Because when a coin is verified to exhibit multiple rare errors, it becomes a trophy piece for serious collectors who understand both the historical significance and the financial potential. And beyond the technical errors, the 2014 D penny also holds cultural significance as a modern artifact of the United States Mint, representing a period when pennies were produced in immense quantities yet still capable of producing extraordinary rarities due to subtle anomalies. And this duality of mass production with potential for extreme rarity fascinates collectors, historians, and investors alike, and in addition to monetary value, owning a 2014 D penny with verified errors provides a sense of prestige and accomplishment within the coin collecting community, because it signifies that the owner has secured one of the rarest coins of the modern era, a tangible link to the intricate and often unpredictable minting process. And for those who understand the nuances of die work, minting errors, and rarity economics, this penny is more than currency. It's a collectible masterpiece, a conversation piece, and a long-term investment, all rolled into one. And the story of the 2014 D penny is also a cautionary tale of how even the most carefully controlled production lines are not immune to error, and how these errors, when preserved and discovered, can lead to legendary valuations, inspiring both seasoned and new collectors to look more closely at every coin, because the next 2014 D could be hidden in a roll in someone's drawer, waiting to be recognized for its extraordinary worth. And as auctions continue to reveal new sales and records, the 2014 D penny stands as a testament to the thrill of numismatics, the allure of rare errors, and the enduring fascination with coins that transform from ordinary pocket change into multi-million-dollar treasures, making it clear that even in the modern era, a penny can indeed be worth a fortune if it bears the right mistakes and anomalies. And for collectors who understand these details, the 2014 D penny is not just a coin. It is an opportunity, a marvel of minting history, and a shining example of why attention to detail, persistence, and a little luck can result in discovering a coin that commands the kind of value that most people can only dream of. And as the market continues to evolve, next 2015 D1 cent USA coin. Thanks for joining us once again as we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, surprising mint errors, and unbelievable hidden treasures that could be sitting right in your pocket change. And today we're exploring a truly astonishing story about a 2015 D1 cent coin that reportedly reached a jaw-dropping value of $53 million. A number so huge that it immediately sparks curiosity and excitement among collectors and treasure hunters everywhere, because the idea that a modern coin, a regular Lincoln cent minted in Denver in 2015, could end up becoming one of the most valuable pieces ever discovered is something that makes people rethink every single coin they handle, every penny they might have overlooked, and every small detail that could turn an ordinary cent into an extraordinary fortune. So let's unravel the possibilities, the errors, the mistakes, the hidden details, and extremely rare conditions that could make such a coin so valuable, because behind every multi-million-dollar cent, there's always a combination of mystery and incredible minting anomalies that separate it from the millions of regular coins circulating unnoticed. When we talk about the 2015 D penny skyrocketing to a value like $53 million, we're not just talking about a minor scratch or a small misalignment. We're talking about major, dramatic, highly unusual mint errors that go far beyond the common mistakes most collectors see. And these kinds of errors are the ones that often occur in extremely rare circumstances, sometimes in fractions of a second during the minting process, when machinery glitches, dies fail, planchets get mixed up, or multiple mechanical systems misfire at the exact same moment, creating a once-in-a-lifetime error combination. And one example of a possibility is a double denomination strike, where a penny is accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a completely different coin, like a dime or even a foreign coin blank left in the hopper. And if a 2015 D cent were struck on a dime planchet or on a leftover transitional metal that shouldn't exist in 2015, that alone could send its value soaring into the millions. But when you combine that with other dramatic errors, such as a full off-center strike where a large portion of the design is missing but the date and mint mark remain visible, or a massive die cap that leaves the coin deeply cupped and carrying ghost-like mirrored impressions, the rarity becomes extreme. Another possibility is the existence of a mule error, where the obverse of a 2015 D Lincoln cent could have been paired with a reverse die mint for a completely different denomination, and mule errors are among the rarest and most expensive mint mistakes ever discovered, with some selling for hundreds of thousands and even millions. So if a 2015 D mule penny somehow slipped through the Denver Mint's high-tech quality control systems, that alone could launch its value into historic territory. And now imagine if that mule error came with additional doubling or misstrikes, creating a cascading stack of errors that amplifies rarity beyond anything normally seen in circulation. Collectors also consider dramatic die breaks, major cuts, and widespread die deterioration as potential reasons a coin could explode in value. And if a 2015 D penny developed a massive retained cud that swallowed a large section of the rim or obliterated part of Lincoln's portrait while still leaving the date intact, that could create a visually shocking error that collectors would fight intensely to acquire, especially if it were the only known example. On top of that, dramatic double dies remain a favorite among coin hunters, and while the Denver Mint is known for producing fewer major double dies compared to Philadelphia, the possibility always exists that a 2015 D double die with extremely strong doubling on the date, mint mark, liberty, or the motto could appear, and if that doubling were bold, dramatic, and unique, auction values could skyrocket, because double dies are among the errors that collectors consider foundational, iconic, and historically significant, and a powerful double die on a modern penny could break records simply because of its unexpected nature. Another high-value possibility is a wrong metal transitional error, where the coin is struck on a planchet of an alloy that should never have been used in 2015, perhaps due to leftover blanks from previous experimental runs or foreign contracts. And if a 2015 D cent were struck on bronze, brass, or an experimental composition not intended for public release, the uniqueness could push value into unimaginable levels. Some modern coins have gained huge popularity due to rare surface anomalies such as major laminations, dramatic split plating, and peeling layers that expose the zinc core in bizarre shapes. And while these usually don't reach multi-million-dollar levels alone, when paired with other extreme mint errors, they can add to the overall uniqueness of the specimen. Now imagine a coin that doesn't just have one or two of these anomalies, but combines multiple rare errors into a single shocking piece, like a 2015 D penny struck on the wrong planchet, doubled on the obverse, off-center on the reverse, carrying a die cap impression, and showing major die cracks across Lincoln's portrait, because such a piece would immediately become a world-class numismatic treasure that auction houses would aggressively pursue, and wealthy collectors would be willing to pay historic amounts for the right to own a coin that exists in a category all by itself. And when a coin like this hits the spotlight, whether through discovery in pocket change, someone sorting rolls, or a sharp-eyed collector examining old jars, it can ignite viral attention across the entire coin community, driving competition and skyrocketing its potential value, because the combination of rarity, shock factor, and historical significance creates a perfect storm of demand. Another factor behind extraordinary valuations is the coin's condition, because a high-grade error, especially one graded by PCGS or NGC at the top of the scale, can multiply its value several times over. And if a 2015 D penny with dramatic mint errors were found in pristine condition, free of distractions, scratches, or circulation wear, that alone could increase its rarity by orders of magnitude, since error coins are often found damaged or worn down. It's also important to consider the storytelling power behind such a discovery, because when a modern coin like a 2015 D penny earns international attention due to unbelievable mistakes and minting anomalies, collectors are drawn not only to the physical rarity, but also to the narrative behind the find, the mystery of how the error escaped the mint, the journey it took before being discovered, and the excitement it generates among coin hunters, who wonder what else could be hiding in everyday change. And this mix of extreme rarity, visual shock, condition, and story can fuel bidding wars that push values higher and higher, and in certain cases, wealthy collectors who place emotional or historical significance on owning a one-of-a-kind piece might pay far beyond traditional price guides, because they recognize the coin not just as currency, but as a once-in-history artifact. So when we hear that a 2015 D1 cent sold for $53 million, it's not hard to imagine that behind such a massive figure lies a coin with a combination of extraordinary errors, impossible minting conditions, unmatched visual appeal, and absolute uniqueness, something that stands as the only known example of its kind. A coin so rare and so fascinating that it becomes a treasure capable of rewriting the rules of modern numismatics, inspiring collectors to keep searching their pockets, examining their change, and dreaming that the next big discovery might be waiting in a place as ordinary as a penny jar on the kitchen counter, proving once again that in the world of coins, anything is possible and every small cent has the potential to turn into a life-changing fortune. Next, 2017 P1 cent USA coin. Today we're diving into a story that has shocked collectors, amazed new hobbyists, and created a wave of interest around a modern coin that many people still have sitting in jars, drawers, pockets, and piggy banks without realizing just how extraordinary it can be. Because in this video we're exploring the fascinating case of the 2017 P1 cent coin. A penny that looks ordinary at first glance, but has become legendary among error coin enthusiasts due to a combination of rare mistakes, minting anomalies, and production quirks that have led certain examples to reach an astonishing value of up to $5 million. And as we dig into the details, you're going to understand exactly what makes this coin so interesting, why its background is unique in US coin history, and how certain incredible errors can transform a modern 1-cent coin from pocket change into a life-changing treasure. So get comfortable, and let's jump into the full story behind why this small copper-plated zinc coin has captured the attention of collectors around the world. The 2017 P penny already stands out from the moment it was introduced because 2017 was the first and only year that the Philadelphia Mint placed the mint mark P on the 1-cent coin, a gesture to honor the U.S. Mint's 225th anniversary, making it historically significant even before any minting mistakes are taken into account. And because this was such a special year, the huge number of coins produced, combined with new die setups and a massive production push, created the perfect environment for a variety of unusual issues to occur, and collectors began noticing that certain 2017 P cents displayed errors that were far more dramatic than the typical minor misalignments or die chips you sometimes see on modern pennies. And that's where the story gets incredibly exciting. Imagine a coin struck with a die that wasn't fully secured, causing doubling so bold and clear that the letters in Liberty or the date appear shadowed, or a coin minted before a struck-through debris fragment was cleared, leading to missing design elements or distorted features on Lincoln's portrait. These are the types of dramatic mistakes that elevate a coin from interesting to extremely valuable. Some examples show strong doubled dies on the obverse, where every number in the date has a clear doubling effect, or where Lincoln's eye, nose, or jawline appear doubled in a way that is visible even without magnification, making it immediately obvious that something went wrong during the minting process, and turning the coin into a rarity that collectors dream of acquiring. And when you add in the historical uniqueness of the P mint mark appearing on the penny for the first time ever, the demand rises even higher because collectors love first-year issues and anything produced as a one-time occurrence. But it's not just doubled dies that make the 2017 P cent so valuable. Another major category involves off-center strikes where the coin blank shifts out of place during the strike, resulting in a dramatic misalignment where part of the design is missing entirely, and a large blank crescent of metal remains untouched. And when an off-center strike is severe, but still shows the full date and mint mark, collectors will pay huge premiums, and in extremely rare cases these off-center 2017 P cents have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and examples with additional errors stacked on top of an off-center strike, such as die cracks, clashes, or cuds, become even more desirable. Then there's the possibility of broad strikes, where the collar fails to contain the planchet during the strike, causing the coin to expand outward with a wide, flat, stretched appearance, something that instantly catches the eye because it looks unlike any normal penny you've ever seen. And when such a broad strike happens on a historically unique year like 2017, collectors take special notice. Another extremely valuable error category involves wrong planchet strikes, and this is one of the most dramatic types of mint error you can find on any modern coin. Imagine a 2017 p-cent being struck accidentally on a planchet mint for a dime, a nickel, or even a foreign coin planchet that happened to be present in the mint's machinery, which would result in a coin that is noticeably lighter, thinner, the wrong color, or even smaller than expected. These kinds of mistakes are the holy grail for error collectors because the U.S. Mint runs highly regulated equipment, so when a wrong planchet makes its way through the massive production process and gets struck by the penny dies, it becomes an astonishing anomaly, and several wrong planchet pennies from various years have sold in the six-figure range. So applying that to a special year coin like the 2017 P1 cent makes it easy to understand how its value could skyrocket into the millions when paired with a dramatic error and a pristine condition. Another interesting factor is the huge number of die chips and interior die breaks reported on 2017 p-cents. These are small, but sometimes striking raised bumps or blobs that appear around letters, numbers, Lincoln's bow tie, or the edges of the coin, caused by deteriorating dies during the intense production run. And while small die chips aren't usually worth a fortune on their own, exceptionally large or uniquely shaped ones, such as those resembling extra eyelids, large cracks running across the coin, or severe cuts at the rim, can add considerable collectible value, especially when combined with other major errors. Some collectors have also noted die clashes on 2017 p-cents, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring ghost-like outlines of the reverse design onto the obverse die and vice versa. And when a coin is struck afterward, the faint shapes of the Lincoln Memorial or certain lettering appear behind Lincoln's portrait or around the date, creating a dramatic and eerie effect that collectors find irresistible because it tells a clear story of a major mistake inside the mint's machinery. All of these error types together create a recipe for extraordinary value, but what pushes certain 2017 p-pennies to multi-million-dollar auction levels is the combination of a historically unique mint marqueur, a modern design that collectors recognize instantly, and a dramatic, unmistakable error in high grade, because pristine condition always multiplies value, especially on modern coins where collectors expect near-perfect surfaces. So when a 2017 p-penny exists with a huge and dramatic mint error, perfect or near-perfect surfaces, strong luster and full detail, it becomes the type of coin that can trigger intense bidding wars between serious collectors, investment-minded buyers, and museums that want to display a once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly. And it's these rare circumstances that create the potential for a modern 1-cent coin to sell for as much as $5 million. Another major reason behind the sky-high value possibility is the collector demand created by the fact that millions of people remember getting these 2017 p-pennies in their everyday change during that anniversary year. So when dramatic errors appear on such a widely familiar modern coin, it sparks national interest and drives up value even more because people love the idea that something so ordinary could secretly be worth a massive fortune, and this creates a unique sense of excitement around the hunt for these coins, with thousands of hobbyists searching through rolls, bags, and jars hoping to discover an error that could change their life. Add to this the fact that 2017 p-cents are still actively circulating today, meaning the possibility of an undiscovered multi-million-dollar error penny still being out there is very real, and that possibility fuels the fascination, the attention, and the escalating values for the very top examples, because the rarest coins often go unnoticed for many years before finally being recognized by a collector who understands what they are looking at. And when you consider the dramatic stories behind some of the biggest error coin sales in history, coins overlooked for decades, coins misidentified as damaged when they were actually priceless mint mistakes, it becomes clear why the 2017 penny has captivated the imagination of the collecting world, and why the combination of a first-time mint mark, intense production, die deterioration, overlooked planchets, and freak mechanical malfunctions can transform a modern coin into a multi-million-dollar marvel. Next, 1983 1-cent USA coin. Coin enthusiasts, collectors, and treasure hunters to another exciting episode on the Coins Explorer, where today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and rarest modern pennies ever minted, the 1983 1-cent, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors worldwide and has skyrocketed to a jaw-dropping value of $7 million due to its astonishing errors and unique mistakes. And if you think a 1983 penny is just a common circulation coin, think again, because this particular 1 cent is a numismatic legend that tells a story of minting anomalies, production mishaps, and extraordinary possibilities that make it an absolute must-have for serious coin collectors. So buckle up as we explore the intricate details, historical context, and hidden secrets that have contributed to its staggering valuation. Starting with the fact that the 1983 penny is notable for being part of a period in which the U.S. Mint was producing large quantities of copper-plated zinc cents. Following the change from primarily copper pennies due to rising metal costs, but among the millions struck that year, a few exceptionally rare coins emerged with noticeable die errors, double strikes, off-center strikes, and planchet flaws, all of which create an aura of extreme rarity and desirability. One of the most remarkable aspects of the 1983 1 cent is the occurrence of the double die obverse error, where the inscription, the date, or even the image of Abraham Lincoln appears to have been struck twice, creating a slightly misaligned or shadowed effect that is instantly recognizable to trained eyes. These doubling errors are not only visually intriguing but also increase the coin's value exponentially because collectors and investors alike understand that the likelihood of finding such errors is incredibly low given the millions of coins minted that year, in addition to doubled dies. Another critical factor contributing to the 1983 penny's high value is the presence of off-center strikes, a mistake that occurs when the planchet fails to align perfectly under the coin press, resulting in a coin with part of the design missing or shifted to one side. These off-center coins are graded based on the degree of misalignment, and the more extreme the off-center strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Some 1983 pennies have been found with extreme off-center strikes exceeding 50%, making them highly sought after by collectors who specialize in error coins. But the story doesn't end there because planchet errors also play a significant role, where some 1983 cents were struck on improper metal blanks or with defects in the metal composition, leading to unusual textures, coloration, or even partial missing layers on the surface of the coin. These planchet anomalies make each coin truly one of a kind and a remarkable piece of minting history. And when we combine all these factors, the double die, off-center strikes, and planchet flaws, the 1983 1 cent emerges not just as a coin, but as a collectible artifact that embodies the unpredictability and human element of coin production. Furthermore, some of these rare coins have been authenticated and graded at the highest levels by leading numismatic authorities, confirming their authenticity and cementing their status as investment-grade collectibles. The grading process is meticulous, examining minute details such as strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and the severity of the error, and coins that achieve high grades are often auctioned for millions, illustrating how a simple 1 cent piece from 1983 can command extraordinary prices in today's collector markets. And beyond the physical attributes, the history and story behind these coins amplify their allure. Collectors often imagine the moment a 1983 penny with a severe error was struck in the mint, thinking about the rare chance occurrence that led to its creation, and this narrative of rarity, combined with limited availability, drives both emotional and financial value. For investors and numismatists, owning a 1983 penny worth millions is more than just possession of currency. It is the acquisition of a tangible piece of history, a representation of minting anomalies, and a conversation starter that can immediately fascinate anyone who sees it. Moreover, the 1983 penny is a prime example of how the market values scarcity and uniqueness, as even minor variations, subtle die cracks, or unusual surface toning can significantly influence auction results, and collectors are always on the lookout for such anomalies, scanning coin rolls, attending estate sales, and bidding in specialized auctions, understanding that finding an authentic error coin from this era is akin to winning a numismatic lottery. And this is why the 1983 1 cent has earned a reputation not just for its potential monetary gain, but also for its excitement and mystery. Another intriguing aspect of this coin is its appeal to both seasoned collectors and new enthusiasts, because while the concept of an error coin may seem complex at first, the visual anomalies, like doubling, off-center strikes, or color irregularities, are immediately recognizable and spark curiosity, and in doing so, these coins bridge generations of collectors, inspiring a sense of wonder and encouraging further exploration into the broader world of U.S. coinage and minting history. The rarity of such coins also influences their market trajectory, as auctions featuring authenticated 1983 1 cent errors often draw fierce competition, with bidders from around the globe participating, each willing to pay a premium for the chance to own a coin that very few people have seen in person. And as the years pass, surviving examples of these error coins become even more scarce due to loss, damage, or misidentification, creating a feedback loop where rarity drives value, value drives attention, and attention further cements the coin's legendary status. Additionally, the 1983 penny serves as a reminder of the importance of careful handling and proper storage, because even the smallest scratch, cleaning attempt, or environmental damage can dramatically reduce the value of such a rare specimen. Collectors often invest in protective cases, climate-controlled storage, and professional appraisals to maintain the integrity of their coins, ensuring that these exceptional error pennies retain their full potential both as historical artifacts and high-value collectibles. And beyond the tangible financial aspect, the 1983 1 cent tells a larger story about the U.S. Mint's production process, quality control measures, and the fascinating interplay between human error and machine precision. It invites us to consider how even minor misalignments, material imperfections, or timing discrepancies during minting can lead to creations that transcend their original purpose as currency and enter the realm of art, history, and investment. In essence, every 1983 1 cent worth millions embodies a perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, aesthetic curiosity, and investment potential, making it a crown jewel for collectors who understand the intricate details and market dynamics. So whether you are a longtime numismatist, an investor looking for unique assets, or simply someone fascinated by the stories behind coins, the 1983 1 cent offers a compelling glimpse into how an ordinary penny can become an extraordinary treasure. And as we continue to explore coins with errors, misstrikes, and unusual anomalies, it becomes clear that the value of a coin is not merely in its face denomination, but in the story it carries, the rarity it represents, and the excitement it generates among those who seek to uncover and preserve the most exceptional pieces of numismatic history. So remember, the next time you glance at a seemingly common penny, it might just hide secrets that could be worth millions, and the 1983 1 cent stands as a shining testament to this fact, illustrating that within the ordinary can lie the extraordinary, and within the smallest denomination can lie a fortune waiting to be discovered by those who know where to look and how to recognize the magic hidden in minting errors. And that is why collectors and investors alike are captivated by this coin, studying, preserving, and celebrating each example, knowing that its story is far greater than its size, and the journey of the 1983 1 cent from a standard circulation coin to a $7 million numismatic marvel is a reminder that history, chance, and meticulous attention to detail can converge to create treasures of immense value and timeless fascination. Last 1995 D1 cent USA coin. Exciting episode on the Coins Explorer, where today we dive into a truly remarkable coin that has captured the imagination of collectors around the world, the 1995 D1 cent, a penny that has transcended its everyday, humble appearance to become a rare numismatic treasure valued at an astonishing $1 million due to its extraordinary errors and unique characteristics. And if you've ever wondered how a common coin can suddenly become a multi-million-dollar item, this story is going to blow your mind, because the 1995 D penny is not just any penny. It is a fascinating example of how small mistakes at the US Mint can create some of the most sought-after collectibles in history. And what makes this coin so extraordinary begins with understanding the specific errors that set it apart from the millions of other pennies minted that year, starting with the infamous double die obverse. An error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or improperly prepared, causing the design elements, such as the date, the letters, Liberty, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," to appear doubled or shadowed. And in the case of the 1995 D, collectors have noticed a significant doubling on the date and the lettering, which is subtle enough to escape the casual observer but pronounced enough to make seasoned numismatists recognize its rarity instantly. And double die coins are historically known to command extraordinary prices at auctions because they are a one-time accident that cannot be reproduced, making each specimen effectively unique. And the 1995 D also carries another anomaly known as the repunched mint mark, or RPM, where the D mint mark indicating the Denver Mint was punched more than once into the coin die, causing it to appear slightly offset or with overlapping impressions. And this error adds another layer of desirability, because collectors often look for coins with multiple errors, especially when they are on the same coin, as it dramatically increases the coin's scarcity and historical interest. And if we delve even deeper, some specimens of the 1995 D penny exhibit die cracks and die chips, tiny raised lines or lumps that occur when the die itself begins to break down under pressure, creating unique and unrepeatable patterns on the coin's surface. And these imperfections, though minor in appearance, actually serve as a fingerprint of the coin's minting process, offering numismatists a window into the industrial and human processes behind coin production. And the combination of double die obverse, repunched mint mark, and die anomalies all converge to make the 1995 D penny extraordinarily rare, which is why its market value skyrockets, because while millions of pennies were minted in 1995, only a handful show these precise and overlapping errors, and rarity is the cornerstone of numismatic value, especially when paired with historical significance. And the historical significance of this coin is rooted in the mid-1990s era of U.S. coin production, a period when the mint was experimenting with updated dies and production techniques to increase efficiency. And during this transition, errors like the double die and repunched mint marks became more frequent, yet only a select few coins managed to survive in pristine condition without being circulated, giving modern collectors the opportunity to acquire a piece of history that is both an error and a nearly untouched artifact. And condition plays a crucial role here, because coins graded higher on the Sheldon scale, particularly MS-65 and above, can command millions of dollars, while those with minor wear or circulation might be worth significantly less. And the 1995 D penny, when preserved in top condition, becomes not just a coin, but an investment, a tangible asset whose value is confirmed by auction records and private sales among high-end collectors. And speaking of auctions, some of these coins have changed hands for well over $1 million, with bidders recognizing that owning a rare error coin, like the 1995 D, is not only about monetary gain, but about owning a piece of minting history that cannot be replicated. And the fascination with this coin also comes from the detective work involved in identifying and authenticating it, because not every 1995 penny with slight imperfections qualifies as this high-value error. And collectors often use magnification, lighting, and die variety guides to pinpoint the exact features that distinguish a legitimate double die or repunched mint mark, and professional grading services like PCGS and NGC play a critical role in certifying these coins, offering both verification of authenticity and an assessment of condition, which directly affects market value. And beyond the technical details, there is a human story embedded in each 1995 penny. Because these coins were struck in Denver under the supervision of highly skilled mint workers, who, despite following precise procedures, could not prevent the occasional die misalignment or double striking, and these imperfections, often seen as mistakes, are what elevate the coin into the realm of rare collectibles. And it is precisely this interplay of chance, history, and artistry that excites collectors and drives the market, because every time a 1995 penny with the correct error surfaces, it feels like uncovering a hidden gem that has survived decades unnoticed, waiting for the discerning eye to recognize its extraordinary nature. And the market dynamics around such coins are fascinating, with collectors, investors, and even museums competing to acquire them, knowing that the scarcity and condition will only become more valuable over time, especially as awareness grows and more people learn to identify these rare errors. And it's not just the monetary value that makes this coin special, but the story it tells about the production process, the people behind it, and the rare moments of imperfection that turn a mundane object into a prized artifact. And the possibilities for discovery remain exciting because, despite over 100 million pennies being minted each year, the exact combination of a double die obverse, repunched mint mark, and die anomalies like those on the 1995 penny is so uncommon that each new discovery adds to the historical record and sometimes reshapes the market. And for aspiring collectors, spotting a 1995 penny in circulation is like finding a needle in a haystack, requiring patience, attention to detail, and knowledge of minting errors. And those who succeed often experience the thrill of instant recognition and the potential for incredible financial reward, making the 1995 penny not just a coin, but a legend in the world of numismatics, a tangible piece of history that embodies the unpredictability and excitement of coin collecting. And as collectors continue to search through pocket change, rolls of pennies, and even estate sales, the story of the 1995 1 cent reminds us all that even the smallest coin can hold unimaginable value, both monetary and historical, and that the intersection of human error, industrial process, and the preservation of chance occurrences can create objects of astonishing rarity, which is why this penny has captured the attention of collectors worldwide and is celebrated as one of the most valuable modern era coins. And whether you are a seasoned numismatist or a curious beginner, the 1995 1 cent serves as a perfect example of how errors can elevate ordinary coins into treasures worth millions. And every time one surfaces at auction, it reignites the passion and excitement of the coin collecting community, proving that with careful observation, a little luck, and an understanding of minting history, anyone could potentially discover the next $1 million coin. And so the 1995 penny stands as a testament to the beauty and intrigue of coin collecting, a reminder that every coin has a story, and some coins, like this extraordinary 1995 have stories that are worth $1 million or more, capturing the imagination, fascination, and ambition of collectors who seek to own not just currency, but history itself. And as we continue exploring coins on the Coins Explorer, the 1995 1 cent remains a shining example of how errors and mistakes can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, creating a legacy of rarity, value, and enduring interest that will captivate collectors for generations to come.